Welcome to the SVG-TV news for Friday, November 20th. I'm Khalil Kato with the details. A possible challenge to the North Leeward seat has not yet been decided, but leader of the New Democratic Party, Dr. Godwin Friday, said this will be known by next week. The NDP's candidate Roland Patel Matthews lost the seat by 1 vote to Carlos James of the Unity Labour Party when the final votes of the November 5th general elections were conducted. In the preliminary count, James had a 7-vote lead over Matthews. NDP Vice President Sinclair Leacock spoke about a likely petition to challenge the result. Dr. Friday said they have a 21-day period to challenge the outcome in the constituency.
We are looking at all the possibilities, but we haven't taken a decision. There's a time frame of 21 days if you want to do a petition, but there are other things that can be done politically and, outside of the law courts. There will be, if there's such a decision, there will be an announcement, of course, because it's a big thing. So you will know more next week.
Following the 2015 general elections, the NDP challenged the results of the polls in the North Leeward and Central Leeward constituencies. Justice Stanley John threw out those petitions in March 2019, and the NDP had said that it would appeal that decision. So far, there has not been a conclusion to the party's appeal of the decision. Meanwhile, Queen's Counsel Parnell Campbell says, as a patriot, he recommends a judicial recount of the 39 rejected ballots in the North Leeward constituency. On his Law and You program on SVG-TV this week, Campbell said he noted the opposition's intent to file an application to the court for a judicial recount, and he agrees. He said the ULP should not oppose this petition.
Both government and opposition should agree to have the judge do a recount or organize a recount. But that recount need not go over the other 4,000, 5,000 votes which were cast. The recount should be confined to the rejected ballots. Now, in North Leeward, 39 ballots were rejected. Of those 39 rejected ballots, 20 were rejected in one polling station alone, namely the Learning Resource Center at Golden Grove. The initial count had one candidate winning by 7 votes. The recount had him winning by 1 vote. Clearly, as a matter of justice, if not common sense, if not principle, justice alone ought to indicate to the government that they should let there be a judicially supervised final count, a recount.
The Queen's Counsel said there should, however, first be an agreement between both parties that neither of them would appeal at the end of the recount, whoever wins or loses.
What they should do. If that is agreed, then before the end of this month, when Parliament is due to meet, that situation could be cleared up, because it will take just a morning for scrutiny to be made of 39 ballots to see if they were rightly or wrongly rejected and who they went to. And if at the end of the day, Mr. Charles still won by his 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 votes, how many? Fine. But if it turns out that he was wrongly declared the candidate, let the other candidate get the seat, because that will only be justice. Rather than putting the nation through the suspense of going through the courts for another few more years, it doesn't make sense. But in all justice, there should be a judicially supervised recount. The parties agree on certain parameters. They should agree that there should be no orders to costs, and let the court order a look, not at all the votes, but just at the rejected ballots, so that the court can satisfy itself which of those rejected ballots were correctly rejected. And if all were correctly rejected, so be it.
Campbell noted that history has shown that North Leeward often turns up peculiar results, making reference to the 1966 elections in which the PPP's candidate won by 4 votes, resulting in the PPP forming the government. He said at that time there were 9 seats, with the PPP and the Labour Party tied with 4 seats each, and the North Leeward seat being called for the PPP. The New Democratic Party has recommended Chevron John and Israel Bruce to the Governor-General as to the 2 persons who will be opposition senators in the next Parliament. This was confirmed by party leader Dr. Godwin Friday, who told SVG-TV News that they performed well in the November 5th general elections. He said that while John is a newcomer to politics, she's young and has a lot to offer, and so does Israel Bruce, who served as a senator in the last Parliament.
They're 2 very capable people who, will represent their constituencies, their country, and our party very well in the Parliament. And as you know, Chevron John did extremely well in the poll, Israel Bruce as well. And Israel has a lot of experience, and Chevron, she's new to it, but she's a good lawyer, and she will do a tremendous job. I have great confidence in both of them.
Kay Bacchus-Batiste was one of the 2 NDP senators in the last Parliament. She makes way for John. As SVG joined with others to observe Universal Children's Day today, the Minister with responsibility for gender and youth, Orlando Brewster, has been speaking about child protection interventions in SVG. In a message, Brewster, who has spent less than 2 weeks so far on the job, listed some of the ways in which the ministry helped to protect children from domestic violence, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic while they were out of school.
As people are asked to stay at home, cases of domestic violence may increase. Women of all ages, men and children are at particular risk of violence in their homes. As a policymaker, we can help protect men, women, and children from violence during COVID-19 by 1, including services for survivors of violence among the essential services that must be maintained during COVID-19. 2, supporting hotlines, shelters, and other specialized services for survivors. 3, innovating new ways of reaching survivors and provide them with the help and information they need. And 4, standing up for and encourage others to promote gender equality and zero tolerance for all forms of violence. A violent-free society requires good policy.
Universal Children's Day is observed annually on November 20th and is aimed at improving child welfare, promoting and celebrating children's rights, and promoting togetherness and awareness among all children. And with the observance of Universal Children's Day today, Executive Director of VinSave, Janice Fraser, is calling on parents to get more involved in the daily activities of their children. She said this is important as children need love and care from both parents.
That, parents must be always there for the support of their children, and to follow their progress and to liaise or to continue to support the institutions, the schools, the daycare and preschool centers in terms of what they do with their children. So at least the children would get the best of, or be the best, if I may just use that term, of what they should or can do.
VinSave held an open day for its parents today, where it displayed the art and craft work of children at the center. Chief Prison Officer Saville Rodriguez has highlighted the importance of prisoner rehabilitation, even as he acknowledged the importance of security as an essential component of prison management. Speaking on the Police Care, Serve, Protect program last evening on the topic rehabilitation and reintegration for prison inmates in Her Majesty's Prison, Rodriguez said the rehabilitation ensures that inmates obtain the psychological, spiritual, and physical help that is needed. He emphasized that rehabilitation complements security.
Persons don't commit crimes, especially repeatedly, because they just want to commit crimes. A lot of persons who commit crimes over and over and over, there's an issue with them. There has to be some problem. So rehabilitation has now come to the fore, and although security is an integral part of prison management,
yes,
rehabilitation is actually the end result. Is actually what we look for these days.
That's right.
And Her Majesty's prisons right now. Let me refer to it as the St. Vincent and Grenadines Prison Department.
Yes.
Is no
wonderful name.
Is no stranger to it. We are on board, and rehabilitation is first and foremost on our agenda, right up there with security.
Right.
Because rehab reinforces security. Because if you rehabilitate people, your security system does not have to be that rigid.
Right.
Because you would be preventing people from reoffending in the first place.
Also speaking on the issue, Grade 2 prison officer Orlando White said that one of the main projects that helps in the physical rehabilitation of the inmates is the house farming program.
In-house farming, as in that the prison officers themselves who know about farming,
yes,
go out with the inmates and they bestow what they know about the farming, and it's also in part we get help from Ministry of Agriculture.
Yes,
that help us with some resources and even some of the people to come in and deal with it.
Right.
Deal with farming, because when we talk about farming, we don't want to talk about everybody hear about farming. Some people might just say, "Oh, I just go outside and plant a seed in the ground and it will grow up and get a tree." But you have to realize you're planting, you have to know when to plant, how to plant, what is the best time to plant.
Right.
You know, you have to know what is rotational crops. You have to know what is long crops. You know, have to know all these things. And we have people that came from the Ministry of Agriculture, educated the officers and the inmates about all these other crops, and we have experienced officers who are also doing farming, as their little pet project. And they came and they say, you know what, I can step out from my normal security duty. I can show these men something about farming.
White said that there are 35 inmates at the Belle Isle Correctional Facility who are engaged in the farming program, and this exercise has been a boost to their self-esteem.
And the interest is there, because they realize they're going out, they plan something. When you see it's time to reap, you could say, you know what, I, John James, did that.
Yes.
I made this happen. I farmed, I actually made something grow from my hand. So we have plenty land to go.
Yes.
And we have a lot of people a lot of inmates who come to the prison, and they just sit down most of the time. But before, it's like you wake up, you sit down, you eat, you go back to sleep. You had nothing to do. But now we're giving them a purpose to get up.
Right.
One of the main things about rehabilitation is that the person himself had to accept that he has a problem.
Yes.
And to say, but I have a problem. That's if starting with it.
A veteran butcher, Richard Gibson, says that he's having difficulty obtaining cattle to supply his customers with beef, and a few weeks ago he was on the verge of closure. Gibson, who has been butchering for more than 60 years, said difficulty obtaining cattle is a problem around this time, but this year is worse than last year. He explained that on a weekly basis, he purchases 3 cows, but now he gets 1, or in some cases, none.
Really lucky if I get 1 week. 2 weeks ago, last week, I was on the verge of closing them because I didn't have any meat. And just happened so, a farmer from Rose Hall, he rang me and brought me a nice big bull. The Grenadines need a lot of proper local beef, and we cannot get it. It is worse than last year. Up to last year, this time, so my chest freezer would have been full up, would be prepared for the Christmas rush. Up to now, I'm struggling to get the proper cuts. So my advice for people is to check out your butcher early and buy early.
Gibson said that at the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, when Grenada closed its borders, there was a large stock of beef in supply. And he maintains that part of the problem has to do with farmers preferring to sell their cattle to the Grenadians.
I understood from reliable sources that the Grenadians are due here just before Christmas. This is disaster for the public in St. Vincent. They will not get, there will be a shortage of beef. If you notice, some of the people have already put the price up. So I would like to see the Minister of Agriculture postpone the Grenadians from coming here for Christmas. I'm telling you honestly, there is a shortage of meat. Since the 21st of August, my agent has not bought me any cattle whatsoever. He cannot get them himself. So what are we supposed to do?
Gibson said he has made attempts to meet with the Minister of Agriculture as he feels that the scarcity of cattle can be solved if there is a holistic approach that involves cattle farmers, agents and butchers.
So let us get together, let's sit down and talk about the meat industry, what we can do to improve it. I have to traverse the country or set an agent to seek them over out of the country before I can get them myself. That's not the way to run an industry. And the meat industry in St. Vincent is a great industry. I just think it's about 15, 20 million a year turnover in the meat industry in St. Vincent, and there's no organization.
The Global Environment Facility, or GEF, Small Grants Program is seeking to strengthen the capacity of persons and entities engaged in its project application process through 2 days of training. The two-day project and writing management workshop will take place next Monday and Tuesday. It will cover topics such as project development, project writing and budgeting, project implementation, financial management, team dynamics, conflict resolution, record keeping and marketing, with a focus on the GEF Small Grants Program SGP project application process. The mandate of the GEF SGP is community action, global impact. It is committed to working along with community groups and NGOs to ensure that they reach their full potential in making a difference in the lives of many individuals and families who take a community action approach to solving environmental problems and creating sustainable livelihoods one community at a time. The workshop will be held at the Kingstown Methodist Church Hall, commencing at 9:30 a.m. daily, and will be preceded by a brief opening ceremony. Today, Flow launched their Christmas promotion where all prepaid customers will receive 5 times data whenever they activate a 3 to 7 day prepaid plan. At a media briefing today, Flow Country Manager Wayne Hull highlighted some other offers which include rewards, prizes, and true values for their customers.
And providing even more access to broadband TV, fixed voice services, and mobile services. We will continue to offer the best value in the market with our fixed line bundles coupled with our mobile. And the promotion would offer to new and existing customers various rewards from cash and prizes, free mobile data, free mobile credit, Samsung tablets, mobile plans slashed in half, hams and turkeys for customers paying their bills, and many other valuable gifts at our retail store. And just to give you a sense of some of our plans, we would take the promotion throughout every single community in St. Vincent and the Grenadines using our pop-up shops, and we would also offer customers the ability to use our online virtual stores to make their purchases. And just to indicate, look out for our big Blue Friday sale next week Friday on the 27th of November.
Hull also expressed gratitude to local customers and to the company's employees for going beyond the call of duty to keep Flow customers connected despite the challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Experience those challenges. I want to thank the customers for their loyalty to our products and services, and I appreciate their confidence that they have placed in us to deliver telecommunication services to their homes. During this pandemic, the need for reliable telecommunication services, especially the internet and mobile data, remains vitally important to many households. We have done enormous work on our network and was able to successfully deliver on that commitment. I want to also thank the members of the team at Flow, who I consider heroes, because they continue to go into the customers' homes, continue to upgrade our networks all throughout the pandemic. And we are continuing to upgrade and improve things as we go along.